Hey, what's up, Exit the Matrix family? Bob here. Hey guys, I hope you're having a great day whenever you get a chance to check out this morning talk. Hey, I just kind of wanted to pick up where we left off the other day when I was talking about Tartaria and the orphan trains, about this forgotten empire. And it's funny because as I posted this on Facebook, I was getting attacked quite a bit over this whole Tartaria thing. Apparently, mainstream media has been doing its rounds saying that this is some kind of a, that one letter that you can't say, that a lot of people fell for the psyop, where they're trying to say that Tartaria is like connected to that, which is absolutely ridiculous. Tartaria was a real empire. You can find it on old maps. It's in old encyclopedias. The reason why modern media is trying to say this is all fabricated is because, see, folks, they purposely hid this from our textbooks, from what we learn in school. They never taught about it. They purposely hid this from us. So, the fact that there's people like, oh, well, look, mainstream media said it's connected to that one letter, that people on the far right were falling for. It's like, no. There is no remote connection there, folks. And then people are saying, oh, well, those were just like, barbarian horse clans and stuff like that. Yes, some of them were. See, those areas have always been known for nomadic peoples. That's, the Mongolians. You had the Scythians, at least on the the closer to the Persian Caucasus Mountain areas. It didn't matter if they were Asian people or Caucasian peoples. They were known for being nomads that lived off their horses. I mean, Genghis Khan built his empire through horse warfare. His people were the best at it. See, what Tartaria is, folks, is it was an amalgamation of the leftover Mongolian Empire. See, people tend to think that the Mongolian Empire just disappeared, I guess, after they hit the height of their empire, and then it started, getting shrunk by all the other armies, that were fighting back and taking back territory and all that. And you had later on, empires and armies that stepped up, But no, the Mongolian Empire still, a remnant of it still survived, and part of it became this Tartarian Empire. The Tartarian Empire was massive, folks. It covered parts of Persia all the way into the Caucasus regions of Eastern Europe, Russia. I mean, that whole area there, it was a amalgamation of older empires that must have came together under one banner. But regardless of what you feel about it, or if you fall for the mainstream narrative, which is a cover-up, a dismissal, there was this region. It's on maps. It's in old encyclopedias. In newer ones, it's been stricken from the annals of history. There's a reason for that, folks. Do I have the reason for you? No. I'm just saying there's a reason for it. There was something that happened in those Middle Ages, going up to the Renaissance time. Something happened that they've been trying to hide from us. That's why they called it the Dark Ages, to try to... See, when you call it the Dark Ages, and it puts in your mind that, well, that was just a time of history that we need to forget, that there was nothing good. It was all darkness, and and of course there was the Little Ice Age, that hit Europe and all that. There were things that happened, but what I'm questioning is, was there some massive catastrophic event that wiped out this empire? Was there a massive empire that rivaled Rome after Rome deteriorated into a religious stronghold, into a religious throne? Because that's all that happened with Rome, folks. See, Rome never totally got defeated. That's what you're told in school. They always say the collapse of Rome, and the German tribes eventually overcame Rome's borders and all that. No, folks. They just became a religious power. Rome never collapsed. Now the architecture and the way of living of Rome at its height, yes, that went away. But as far as the power structure of Rome, it never went away. They just shifted it over into a religious hegemony. And then they brought an iron grip on all of Europe. See, what Rome couldn't do with military might, they did with religious force. All of you that have this romantic view of Christianity, like it's this amazing faith that's all about love, and it's God walked in a human form, as Jesus Christ, and he taught us, all these fantastic things, which I'm not going to say Yeshua did teach us fantastic things. However, they took his teachings, they perverted them into a religion, boxed up his teachings, and then they put the whole world under, or at least as much as they could control, under tyranny, under religious tyranny. Did you know that most peasants weren't even allowed to own a Bible? It was a crime to own a Bible through most of the Middle Ages. All it was a tyrannical religious dictatorship. That's it, folks. The romanticism about Christianity it's just your ignorance. That's it. Because you want to believe that your religion is fantastic and good. See, I don't even know if you could put a number to the amount of people genocided under this religious order. Have you ever even read about what happened to people under the Inquisition? Have you ever heard about what happened to people that didn't want to be forcibly converted to Christianity? Have you read about that, folks? I mean, you're talking about the religion of love. It's funny with Christians because they'll laugh at those of Islam, of, Muslim faith. And they'll say, oh man, look at the Muslims. They're under a religion of bondage, and they're, it's false teachings and a religion of hate, and it breeds radicalism and warfare and destruction and forced conversion. Folks, and I'm not denying that. That's absolutely true. I mean, Islam is the religion of Nanar Sin and Anunnaki. He was the moon god. His symbol was the crescent moon. That's who they worship. But Judeo-Christianity worships Yahweh, the Canaanite storm god, also known as the Sumerian god Enlil. So both of them are following these religions of the Anunnaki. See, folks, it's always been this way. Always. It's just, you believe that your religion's better than another religion, but you're ignorant. See, your pastor ain't going to sit up in church and tell you about all the millions genocided in the name of your religion. No, you're going to be told about how, okay, guys, we're putting together this summer, we're going to send all your kids over to some third world country to help build villages and convert over the indigenous peoples to Christianity. They're going to go over there and bring supplies and do all this good, what do they call it, missionary work, right? Now, folks, I'm not saying those of you that have sent your kids into missionary work, that's a bad thing. I mean, yes, they do a lot of good. And nowadays, yeah, Christianity doesn't force people by the sword to convert. But you got to realize, missionaries of old, they did go with the sword. They went with the full backing and power of the governments of the time. With the Spaniard, the Spanish government. With the Portuguese government. With Rome behind them. With the Anglican Church. It was by the sword. Convert or die. And you know what they would do is they would go into these villages and the tribal leader, the chief, whatever, if he said, no, we don't want to accept this God, this white God, or, your God. We have our gods. We've been worshiping our gods for thousands of years. Well, you know what they would do, right? These peace-loving Christians, well, they would take that chief and they would torture him to death in front of the whole village, slowly, and as disgustingly, decrepitly as you could imagine. I mean, the torture devices of the Middle Ages were something to see. I mean, there's whole museums in Europe you can go, even in Rome, and see these torture devices. I mean, things that even these so-called the most evil nations on earth that you would talk about as a Christian wouldn't even do to their own enemies. Oh, this was all done in the name of Jesus Christ. Yep, we just impaled this guy in front of his whole village, in front of his children, in front of his wife, just for simply denying our God. And for him wanting to hold true to the gods that they've always worshipped. See, this is a funny thing is, folks, I get attacked all the time. I get attacked more by Christians than by liberals, by leftists. I gotta tell you, I do. More vehemently in my messages, the stuff they say to me. They hate the fact that you would question their God. See, they have this belief that if you don't believe in their God, Jesus Christ, the Roman character, if you don't believe in their Yahweh, this Old Testament God of war and vengeance, the Canaanite God with his consort Asherah, who the early Israelites worshipped and had herd shrines in Yahweh's temples also. See, if you don't worship that God, that quote-unquote Trinity of gods, that you don't believe in God. They truly believe this. They think that they have a trademark on God, on the creator of all, on the source of all creation. I mean, that's how indoctrinated these people are. Like, they believe their concept of God is the only God and there is no other. Well, isn't that what he said in the Bible? Of course he did, folks, because he was a liar from the beginning. He's always been a liar. See, the Anunnaki wanted nothing more than for humans to worship them as gods. They had their own tribes of people that they led, that they got their worship from. See, they understood that this is an energetic realm, and they would harvest people's prayer energy. Because, folks, prayers are powerful. But when you pray in one of these deities' names, you're giving them your energy. See, they're energy vampires. They're pimping you out for your energy. Because here's the truth, folks. We are all the children of Source. We are all fractals of Source. We just have forgotten that, which makes us all the children of God, which makes us all gods. Now, I did not say that makes us greater than the source, but it does make us his God children. See, they don't want you to believe this. They'll tell you that's blasphemy and all that. Even though, literally, the teachings of Yeshua were trying to teach this. But the context and the way that your church teaches you this, or your pastor, they teach it in a way that understanding gets muddied up in the waters, so to speak. And then they'll tell you that, no, nobody could be as great as Yeshua, and no, you should never do, you should never do healing, or you should never, only a certain, trained priest should cast out demons, and on it goes, folks. Well, there's a reason why they don't want you doing any of that, because here's the thing, folks, we can all cast out demons. And you want to know who the demons are, folks? Most of the time, it's yourself. It's your dark side. It's your shadow side. Because you're in a realm of duality. We all battle against the proverbial devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other. See that voice in your head that tells you to do right and good, that gives you good direction, that's your higher self. See, you don't fully reside in this body, in this dimension. Your spirit is too great to reside in one dimension. You are a multi-dimensional being, and only part of your essence is in the avatar body, experiencing the human reality, or the third dimension. That's where that good voice is coming from. It's yourself, folks. It's not an angel. It's not God. It's yourself. Giving yourself directions in the game, like a cheat code. Because you're playing the game, the matrix, the simulation. And then that dark side that we all battle with. We all do. I say we. I'm not saying I'm not part of this. I'm not one of these gurus out here, these fake New Agers that are just love and light, love and light. I'm only love and light. Shut the fuck up. You ain't all love and light. Many of those that proclaim to be the most love and light people have the darkest side to them. That's just the way it is, folks, because we live in a realm of duality. And part of the game is overcoming that duality. See, the dark side, folks, that you're all born into is the beast. It's the body. It's the third dimensional construct that you control. It's the character in the game that you control. It's low vibrational. It's of this realm, of a low vibrational realm, of the realm of duality, which is Earth. That's where your dark side comes from. It's not the devil. It's not demons. It's not fallen angels. No, it's you. You ever hear New Agers talk about, your shadow work? Well, that's what shadow work is, folks. It's as simple as that. Once you understand that your animal desires are at odds with your higher vibrational, higher dimensional self, and it's a tug of war with the human avatar, then you'll understand what that shadow work is. It is just simply understanding that and learning how to find balance and learning how to overcome that dark side and how to still live in a high vibrational level even at this low vibrational realm. That's shadow work, folks. Now, I know we went way, way off the road here, and I'm sorry. I do that, folks. I just let the universe take me where it will. If that upsets you, I'm sorry. I don't go into these with a planned, organized, structured talk. Sometimes they end up that way, but a lot of times I stray, but it's because, a lot of these subjects, you go down side roads, and I just let it flow. So some of you may enjoy that. It's like that. Remember those books in school we used to, I used to love them. the choose your own adventure books. Remember those? You'd read like a page in the book, and then at the bottom it'd give you like 2 or 3 decisions you could make, and that would take you to a different page to continue on the story. Well, let's just look at our talks that way, okay? But getting back to the whole Tartaria thing and the that subject, the whole point of that, what that started from, was that I wanted you to understand that there have been empires that have come and gone. There have been resets to the earth that have happened many times on this earth. The flood was just one such one. Perhaps during that time there was something, maybe it wasn't a worldwide catastrophe, but maybe it was heavily targeted in that area of where Tartaria was, and it destroyed their empire. Perhaps it wasn't warfare and stuff that led to its collapse. Perhaps it was a natural catastrophe. We already know that that's where the Tungustan, sorry, I may not be saying it wrong, where that explosion happened in the early 1900s that wiped out all the trees, that it was like a meteorite that blew up in the air, that incinerated in the air above the ground, and it was like a nuclear bomb went off. What if something like that happened, but on a much larger scale? Who knows? Maybe it was warfare. Maybe it was a mixture of catastrophe and conquest. We'll probably never know, because for some reason they're really trying hard to not let us know about it. Just like Atlantis, you know. Oh, I'm sure in the Vatican, in their archives, there's a lot of information about Atlantis. But that's another one that has been hidden from us. Even though, if you look at all these ancient megalithic structures all around the earth, I mean, you could look at Nan Madol in the island region of, you know, the Polynesian islands and all that. Nan Madol, if you've never read about it, folks, it's absolutely mind-blowing. I'll have to do one of these times we talk just on Nan Madol itself. I mean, literally, the people of that area, they say that it was built by 2 giants. I mean, megalithic structures, some of them reach out into the ocean. And you're talking about like peoples that were living or like off reed boats and stuff that were, you know, did not have any technologies that could have like built this place. It's a great mystery, Nan Madol. But see, it connects, folks, to Easter Island. It connects to Machu Picchu, all these other ancient sites in Bolivia and in Peru, in Chile. It connects with these pyramids all around the world, folks. Ancient structures that you find in Asia, Southeast Asia. Most of you probably don't know that there are tons of huge pyramids in China. Now, we don't hear about those because the Chinese government keeps that under wraps too. But they are there. In fact, it's been said that the largest pyramid in the world is in China. See, there was some kind of a worldwide civilization, folks, whether you call it Lemuria or Atlantis, or perhaps it was both. Maybe they were just different, empires at the time that were competing. Maybe one's older than the other one. Maybe one was destroyed and the other one rose in its place. But you have to understand that there was a worldwide civilization tens of thousands of years old, much older than the Sumerians, much older than our oldest recorded human civilizations, which that keeps getting pushed back with Göbekli Tepe and Karahan Tepe in the Lake Van area. I mean, now it's pushing back as much as 14,000 years old. And of course, there's people that have dated the Sphinx and the Great Pyramid as being older than 30,000 years old. But there was a worldwide technologically advanced civilization, folks. And the reason I say it's worldwide is because we find these megalithic structures all around the earth that are designed similar, that are all built on ley lines, energy lines, that are built along certain parallels of the Earth's, grid, you could call it, the latitude and longitude grids, that are lined up with certain star alignments and, constellation alignments. And they had to have had worldwide communication because it's very similar all around the earth. And they had building techniques that we cannot do today, at least without millions of dollars of cranes and expensive equipment. But yet we're told by academia that these were all built by the Inca and the Mayans and the Aztecs and the Polynesian, like peoples, in the ones that use their reed boats and all that, I mean, like Easter Island and stuff like that. I mean, now they're saying some of these things are 60 feet tall, that what was the head is just part of a whole huge body, and saying that, well, they were the ones who did this, the indigenous peoples. No, they didn't, folks. Just like in Machu Picchu, if you look at Machu Picchu, the foundation stones that are intricately, perfectly carved, and I mean, they're so close together you can't even slide a piece of paper between them. But yet on top of that, you see looser rocks that look like they were chiseled with, rock hammers and such, with primitive tools. That's what the Inca did. They found these places, the ruins, and then they built on top of them and they tried to copy. But their work was rudimentary compared to the precise, amazingly, masterfully built foundation stones and such. So something happened, folks, and we're being lied to. They're hiding it to the point where they're telling us that this was all these indigenous peoples that did this. Even though the funny thing is, these indigenous peoples, like the modern day remnants of the Inca, of the tribes in Peru, they even say that their ancestors told them that it was the gods that built those structures and that they found them. Let that sink in, folks. But you go tell that to a college paid professor, archaeologist, and he's going to laugh at you and he's going to say, oh no, that was the Inca people that did that. That's hogwash. There was no previous advanced civilizations. We follow the Darwin doctrine here. The good old Darwin doctrine. You see, it's a religion, folks, just like this whole climate thing. Darwinism is a cult, just like Christianity, just like Judaism, just like Islam, just like Hinduism. They're all cults, folks. See, just because they say it's not religious doesn't mean it's a cult. I mean, look at these climate people. We're all going to die. The Earth's heating up. We got to get rid of CO2. Folks, carbon is the building blocks of life on Earth, okay? The Earth goes through cycles of heating and cooling. We've had many ice ages and we've had heating times. And there's been times when the Earth, without humans, has been far hotter than it is now. See, folks, it's all cycles. The Earth goes through cycles. Us humans, we may have some effects on that. I'm not saying we don't 100%. However, you're getting all pimped by a bunch of liars and scammers. That's all it is. See, they just want to tax you. That's it. They just want to figure out new ways to tax you. What better way than to tax you on carbon? The building blocks of life, right? The funny thing is, a lot of what they're doing will actually destroy this planet if they're successful. I mean, you got Billy Gates right now has got a program where they literally cut forests down and bury them to capture the carbon in the ground. Can you believe that? Trees. which actually absorb the carbon dioxide and release oxygen into the air. I mean, these people are psychopaths. I mean, I hope you guys can wake up. If there's some of you on here that are these leftists that buy this shit, my God, you're in a cult. Don't you realize? You could sit here and laugh at, agree with me what I say about the Christians, and Muslims and other, faithful ones. But if you buy all that, you're part of a cult too. You're ignorant. You just bought into the lies of the mainstream media and into, the mainstream narrative, which you realize, right? Psychopaths run the mainstream narrative. I mean, who do you think owns the news corporations? Who do you think controls them? It's the same people that control the banks, folks. I mean, who do you think funds these universities? Who do you think founded these universities? Same people. I trust science. I don't trust an invisible God. I trust science, what you can measure and physically see. Even though humans only see 0.0030 some percent of the light spectrum. But there you go, there you go. Oh, really, buddy? You only believe what you can measure and see and hear and all that? Well, dummy, did you know that your senses only pick up like a small fraction of what you would call reality, even in the third dimension? Are you that smart to realize that? I don't believe in the paranormal. I don't believe in things I cannot see. That cannot be measured. Yeah. Okay. So what your sense is telling you there then, buddy, huh? You see so much, huh? Do you see ultraviolet? Do you see gamma rays? I mean, you see the full light spectrum, so you know exactly what you're talking about and what you're seeing. You see how ridiculous these people are? Just as ignorant as religious people. And folks, like, when I'm saying that, I'm not saying just because you're religious that's bad. I'm talking about fully indoctrinated religious people that, like, these people that'll sit up here and say, the earth is only 6,000 years old. That's what the Bible told me. I mean, how ridiculous can you be? I mean, we have Göbekli Tepe going back as far as 12,000 years now. Karahan, almost 14,000 years. And you're going to still stand on that pedestal that, well, the Lord said everything was built, everything since the time of Adam and Eve, it's been 6,000 years since the creation. I mean, my God, seriously, folks? Okay. Then how did these megalithic structures, where did they come from? Oh, let me guess. It was the fallen angels and their Nephilim that built them, right? Now, possibly giants could have built these. But that's a very simple explanation for everything. So, I don't know. I upset people of both sides, folks, because I don't buy the lies of the right or the left. I don't follow the religions of the right or the left. Because they're both controlled opposition to each other. They're part of the divisive tactics. They are part of the division, the divide between us. Because we're all brothers and sisters from source. They've dumbed us down. They've poisoned us. They've lied to us. They've divided us. They've got us at each other's throats. Not looking at them, but looking at each other. They've disempowered us. They've done many things to us, folks. And it's time that everybody wakes up and realizes that. Now, if you want to hold on true to your Christian faith, that's fine, man. I mean, trust me, I hold Yeshua in high esteem. Not the Jesus Christ character built by Constantine and his Council of Nicaea. I'm talking about the original Yeshua, the master teacher that traveled the world, that taught in temples and synagogues all over the earth, that learned the mystery schools, that was a priest of the Essenes, that actually learned the Hermetic laws, that taught reincarnation, that taught in the ashrams throughout India and other parts of Asia. In fact, they have him in their histories, in their scrolls, written down as Isa, who taught and learned with the Druids of Northern Europe. See, all of those faiths that Christians would demonize as paganism and all that, which most of those faiths are much older than Christianity, so that'd make Christianity the New Age religion, not not these other teachings. In fact, most of your so-called New Age teachings now, New Age, spirituality and all that, those are all derived from the Hermetic teachings, from the from Hinduism, from Buddhism, from all these other ancient teachings. So they're older than your Bible, but you'll say that's New Age. Well, it's just a newer version of the same old teachings is all it is. But I guess I could contend that your Bible is a lot older, because it's basically an adaptation off of the Sumerian tablets, off of the Akkadian and the Babylonian and the Assyrian tablets. That's where your gods come from. That's where your Yahweh comes from, and that's where these archangels come from. And they were all the same characters, in these Sumerian cuneiform. It's you just don't know that because Pastor Dan ain't gonna tell you that, right? Of course not. And has Pastor Dan studied the cuneiform? Absolutely not. See, there's this really interesting thing that happens, folks. So a lot of the best teachers right now about wakening people up to the cuneiform and that the Bible's not original source were actually ministers and pastors and stuff. They actually started studying these, and then they started realizing, holy crap, we've all been fed a lie. These stories come from a much older source, and it's these tablets. And then once you start realizing that, you start understanding who these characters are in the Bible. Then you start realizing that the Old Testament is nothing about, all it was not about a single God. It was about multiple God worship of Anunnaki, warring over the minds and the lands of humans. That's it. So, anyways, folks, we're going to pick this up again because I want to keep going with this ancient reset, with these, times on Earth that we've seen these resets happen, that we've seen technology that doesn't fit the Darwin theory, that doesn't fit what we're taught in history, what we're taught in religions, because they're hiding it from us, folks. They don't want us to understand this. And I'm starting to suspect something that I'm not going to mention just yet, but maybe in my next video, why this is, okay? So anyways, guys, I got to get rolling here. I've stayed a little late here in the car, so I just love talking about these subjects, and I'm sure I upset a lot of you, and that's fine. I upset people on the right and the left. But those of you that still hang with me, it's because there must be something you're getting out of these talks. And just realize, folks, look, I'm taking the arrows from both sides. I don't care. I will unapologetically continue to teach this awakening. See, the right thinks they own the awakening. They don't get it. The awakening is to awaken to all the lies of religion and the left, of governments, of systems. It's all been a lie, folks. It's all part of the control. So anyways, guys, I appreciate you guys. I love you, and I'll talk to you later.